Okay, I'm going to do a little video where I walk you through the Revit interface. So if you go to the class Blackboard under Unit 2, Assignment 2, Getting Started with Revit. Now you can get an account with the book that allows you to download it if you purchase the book new. Um, but there's a lot of content on there, but if you purchase this used, you don't have the code to get the content. So I've just put into chapter 1, he has you open up two different files just to show you how to open files. I put them up on Blackboard. We're going to just use the church building for a little demonstration here. So I'm going to click on it and it's going to open in Revit. If you click on it and it doesn't open in Revit, you can right click and save it to your downloads or desktop, and then you can open it up from there. So let me know if you click on it, if it doesn't open, and we'll work that out. Okay, so you can see I downloaded it and I've got a slower computer. Now Revit is the probably going to be the main software that you're using for your future career. So it's to your benefit to learn the basics and not skip over it, because we don't want you to go through like semesters and years not knowing some commands that you could have gotten off of the first chapter of the book. So I have a slower computer, so this is a very simple little church building. And what I'd like to do is talk a little about this, which is like your view commands here. So you'll notice that as we look at this, it's got, this is the detail level, and you can't see like the drywall or what the wall's made out of. So what I'm going to do, so if I click on this wall here, you can see it's got exterior insulation finish system on metal studs. But how do I know that the exterior wall is inside and outside is correct? I don't. So what I need to do is I need to click on the fine or medium detail, which shows more detail. And now you're seeing what's going on. This is my exterior insulation finish system, and you can see that this file that he gave you in the book. Now, I don't know if he screwed it up on purpose or if he just screwed it up and didn't notice it. But this has got the outside on the outside is correct here, but now the outside is on the inside here. So first thing I want to do is just show you that there's a lot of easy things to fix in Revit, that it's not the end of the world. Now, if you drew that in AutoCAD and you need to switch it around, it'd be a lot of messing around to fix it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, these are tabs that show you what view of your model you have open. So if I want to look at this thing in 3D, I'm going to click on the little house here. And I want to get the shadows out of it. So I'm going to turn my shadows off. And now this is how it looks like. I can have it on hidden line, but that doesn't tell me what's inside or out. So if I want to show like the difference between inside and outside, I'm going to put it on realistic. There's other color ones I could use. So now you'll see that this is a different color than this, but it might just be the way that Revit's shading it. So I'm going to show you a little trick here. So I've got level 1 and the 3D view, but I want to see them both at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to View, and then I'm going to go to Tile Views. And I'm using my mouse wheel to scroll out, and then I want to scroll in on the area that I'm interested in. So I'm interested in the corner of the classrooms to the right of the front entry. So I'm going to come into this tab and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just using my mouse wheel and pointing my cursor where I want to go in and out. So what I'm thinking is this wall, and really all these walls are backwards on here, but I just want to fix one of them. So I'm going to highlight it here. Let's click on it here. And then I'll see this little arrow. This is how I just very simply flip it over. So now if I zoom in on it, you can see that the exterior insulation is staying. So if I hit escape, you're going to use escape all the time. So if I want to not highlight that wall, I just hit escape and it comes out of there. Now you can see I've got my outside on the outside. So it's very easy to fix things about how you if you screw things up for the most part on Revit. The next thing I'd like to show you a little bit is kind of up here, the basic things. This is like your basic tab where you can open and save. It's kind of called the quick access toolbar. So we can save here, but we can also come into the file tab and we can do a save or a save as here. We can also export and print. We can make a new file or open a file. And it also shows me the recent documents I've had open and the current documents I've had open. So you can see I've got the church building Revit file and I've got two views open. So I'm going to click out of that to get rid of that. This is really critical because this is the undo redo command. It's very smart. It remembers all those changes I made so I can back up to a certain point, and if I undo I can redo back to a certain point. So this, it's not just generic that you have to click this 100 different times or 20 different times to get back. You can go exactly to how far back you want it to go. Uh, this is just a simple measuring command, so if I wanted to measure between two references I could use that. So I'm just going to click here and here, and it's going to tell me that's 30. I could also do it in plan view. Okay, so I showed you how to do these tile views, but now I want to really focus on the floor plan. So all I need to do is go back to my view tab and click back on tab views, and it takes it back to the tabs. So now I've just got one tab open. Okay. Um, so we're working our way around here. These are tagging and text. We talked about default 3D view. If I want to get a quick view inside the building, I can put a camera in there, and I put the camera and I'm going to look towards the front. So let's go back here, and you can see it defaults back to hidden line, but I can also make it realistic. So now I get a rough picture on how it looks like. So I'm going to close that 3D view out. This is, we don't want to mess with customizing the toolbar. We're going to work with it the way it is out of the box. We're not going to get into customizing it like you would if you were in an office. You only wanted to show certain things and not show certain things. Um, so I talked about um, if you'll notice, the default 3D view is not a perspective. It's just like the ISO mode in Revit, where it's like 30 degrees, 30 degrees. It's just to get you an overall view. This is the view cube. It's like looking at it from the top, looking at it from the upper right, looking at it from the elevation view. So that's what that is. There's one other thing I wanted to show you. If I get back to my floor plan. You'll notice that if I zoom in, these lines stay the same line weight because I've got thin lines. Now, just me personally, I like seeing the thin lines because sometimes it confuses me or muddies things up. This is actually showing how it's going to print on plan. If you remember all the dinking around you did in AutoCAD trying to get the line weights correct, Revit kind of idiot proofs that and does the line weights the way it's been set up to do. But you can see here, like if I really wanted to know where the drywall was and the studs were, that thick lines kind of messes with me sometimes. So I tend to work in thin lines a lot. Okay, so we talked about that. Now you're going to be doing most of your work in the architecture tab. So let's go ahead and click on that. And the modify command is really critical here. So if I wanted to select this, you'll notice that it makes a context-specific ribbon here that shows all the various things I can do with a wall. And also I can align it, I can offset it, I can mirror it, I can move it, I can copy it, and we'll talk about that later. You if I don't want to select it anymore, I just hit the escape key to get out of that. Now notice the other thing here. Down in the lower left it says click to select tab for alternates, control adds, shift unselects. So now let's say I want to add, I'm going to hit the control key and see the little plus comes, and now I can select both of those. So shift unselect, say I didn't want to add that, now I can get rid of it. I want to show you another little trick here. If I do a window that way, it's just like AutoCAD. It takes everything inside the window only. If I do my window this way, it does everything the window copies. So it's like SketchUp and AutoCAD in that way. Now notice I've got a bunch of stuff selected here. See this little filter here? This is telling me everything it's got selected. And so if I just wanted to have all the walls selected, I would hit check none and then just click walls and hit OK. And now it's only selected the walls. So that's a very efficient, powerful tool to just select certain things. So I'm going to hit escape to clear my selection. The other thing, this is actually on your first assignment that I'm going to have you demonstrate to me. A lot of times students hit this button by mistake. And they're like, oh, the book doesn't look like the book. This just toggles through getting rid of your windows, your ribbon. So it minimizes it to nothing, but we're going to always keep it to the full boat because there's a lot of commands to learn. Unless you're a super power user, I don't think people have all the keyboard shortcuts memorized. So keep the ribbon fully expanded. Okay, so now let's go through and, most of the time we're going to be spending in architecture. We'll talk about these other ribbons as we go through and learn the thing. Um, the When you draw a wall, let's just draw a wall in here. It's got the exterior wall already selected, so we're just going to go ahead and draw one. Now notice it's got various things here, like the location line to the wall center line. It does the same thing up here. It allows you to tell it that you want the location line to go to the wall center line. Chain allows you to do multiple walls at once. Up to level, roof, it's set up here. So this here and the properties is basically doing the same thing. So let's just say we want this wall not to be to the center line, but we want it to be to the finish face exterior when we draw it. You'll notice it changed it both places. Now I can come through here and draw it, and you'll notice I'm drawing from the outside finish face of this wall, and it's making me a chain. So, and you can see it's kind of lining me up so that I know it gave me a guideline to know to let me close it. And now imagine how long it would take you to draw all those lines in AutoCAD. So that's the power of Revit. Let's go back to architecture here, and we're going to draw in a door. The beauty about BIM is everything's got intelligence. It won't let me drop a door in the middle of the space because you don't need a door in the middle of the space. You only need a door to go through a wall. So I've got the default wall here, and you'll notice it's also got intelligence. When I come in, I'm gonna get rid of the double door. I'm gonna go with a single door because it's a better thing for my example here. So I'm gonna pick the 36 by 84. When I come in from the outside, it puts the door in the outside. If I come in from the inside, the door swings to the inside. Now, once it's in there, it's very easy to flip it. So I can flip it that way back and forth. I can also flip it in and out with those little arrows. So imagine how long it would take you to flip and rotate doors in AutoCAD. You're starting to see how you can be so much more efficient in Revit. Um, Windows work the same way. So let's go back into architecture. Let's drop a window in here. So this is a fixed window. If I come in this way, it puts the window to the inside. Most windows are more flush to the outside, so I'm going to come in from the outside. Let's do it down here and put that window in flush. Now that's actually wrong. It's going half into a wall, but you can see how I'm coming in and out determines where the window is. And it's the same way. If I hit escape, highlight that. Now the arrow is kind of hidden here because it's under my tag, but I could flip it to the inside and outside. Okay, so I'm going to show you the usefulness of the undo tool. So I'm going to go back all the way till I started drawing those wacky walls in there, and I've got that all undone very quickly. Let's go. I'm just looking at my script here. So the properties in the project browser, this shows you like what drawing. So if I wanted to open an east elevation, I just double click on that. Well, I clicked on the wrong thing. I clicked there. So that's giving me my east elevation. If I somehow, I'm going to close this here. If I somehow get rid of that project browser, and then this is the properties, that's also critical. This is part of your assignment too, so this is kind of a test on if you're paying attention. So we need to get those back up. I want you to keep them on the left side, not move them to another screen, just because that's the way the book screenshots and my tutorial screenshots are. Keep them in the default position. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to View, User Interface, and I'm going to do the project browser, and then I'm going to go in and do the properties. And they drop back in exactly where they want to be. Now, if you start to grab these things and move them all over to get them to dock back, it's sometimes a little bit tricky. So let's just leave them where they are for now. Um, there's one other thing I wanted to show you. Let's go to the roof plan. So you'll notice when I clicked on the walls, it selected them, but when I'm clicking on the roof, it's not selecting it. There's a roof there, but it's not selecting. This is a really powerful little tool here. This allows you to select elements by faces, so you would do this for the roof or the floor or the ceiling, something where there's a face and you don't want to select. Now, I could select the roof this way, but I've selected a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so I've got walls and everything underneath there. So if I hit escape, when I click this button, it allows me to select an item by just clicking on the face of the item. So that's normally off unless you want to select something like the floor or the roof. So let's turn that back off here. I think that about covers it. Hope this is helpful and hope you'll enjoy your path. It's really a lifelong path of learning everything Revit does. Okay, thank you.